guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well. In this video, I'm going to be going over my budget and everything I spent, all of that for October of this year. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I've done these in the past and then kind of fell off and started creating different sorts of content. But I wanted to start this up again because honestly, I personally need it because I've noticed a lot of things regarding lifestyle creep and inflation and things like that that have really changed my finances. That and the fact that I did just move a couple of months ago to Denver, that really does change a lot of things with my finances. So I definitely need this. When I looked this over, I was just totally shocked at how much I've been spending on certain things. You know, I thought I was doing pretty well, but then in actuality, maybe not so much. So I wanted to go over all of that with you. I have my laptop in front of me here, so if I'm looking down, that is why. My biggest expense for the month was rent. As you know, I was living in Buffalo before and didn't really have a mortgage payment that I had to actively pay just because I had tenants upstairs that would pay for most of my living expenses, or my mortgage, I mean. So that was like a great thing and expense that I didn't really have to worry about. And now that I live in an apartment, I do have that. So I'm combining the utilities as well, also the internet and stuff. So it'll fluctuate a little bit per month, but my half for October was $1,134. So you might think that's a lot because that's over $2,200 if we combine it. And I think that it's definitely a lot of money for rent. I mean, I guess not compared to a place like New York City or LA, but it's definitely up there. But we do live in a luxury building, so we have amenities and things like that that do make the rent higher. And that was a decision that we decided to do, so we just have to live with that for a year. And then, in case you're wondering, we do live in a one-bedroom apartment. It's pretty small. I think it's 630 square feet. But it's honestly the perfect size for us. We don't really need much else, especially because we don't really plan on living here long term. So it's working out for us. I enjoy it. He enjoys it. So yeah, that's our rent and utility expense for last month. My grocery bill was $364 this month, which is like, that was one of the biggest things that I thought was crazy because that's like my portion of it. So this a lot of money, and I think there's a few things that contribute to it, but the biggest one is that we don't own a car anymore. So I've been doing a lot of Amazon Fresh orders, which I thought was a pretty reasonable deal because it seemed like the prices were very comparable to the grocery store. So I think the biggest part of that expense is just inflation in general, and also the fact that cost of living in Denver is a lot more than in upstate New York. So food is just gonna cost more, I guess. I'm going to try and cut that down as much as I can by eating like cheaper foods, like maybe eating more beans and stuff that is low cost, like rice, and then like meat alternatives like tofu, stuff like that. So that was super expensive because I believe in Buffalo I was only paying like maybe $200 a month on groceries. At one point it was even less than that. For it, groceries are pretty low. $101 for June, which I think is pretty good. I went to like a local grocery store to just get like a couple things one time, and then I got my Whole Foods delivery, which I've started doing. So that was kind of upsetting to see. And then the next part, which is also extremely upsetting, is the restaurants and going out. So I have to cut myself a little bit of slack here because we did just move to a totally new city, a new state, like part of the country. We're gonna go out and, you know, pay for meals, go to bars every once in a while just because we're still meeting people here. We want to experience the local culture and stuff. So we have gone out quite a bit. $440 is what I spent on restaurants this month. I thought I was pretty good about eating out, but I guess not. So that's another one I'm really gonna try to cut down. And what I'm gonna do is just try to stick to one restaurant a week, or do like $100 budget per week combined, where that includes like going out for drinks, like for coffee, anything that you pay for outside that you didn't make at home. So we'll see if that works. That'll cut it down significantly since that's only $50 a week each. And I think that's pretty doable, so I'm gonna try and do that. But the other thing that I want to mention with that is we took a little weekend trip to Chicago last weekend. So that definitely added to the cost of most things because we went out to eat a lot there. Since obviously we're in a hotel, we can't really eat, like, buy groceries or anything. So that contributed to it, and we did go to a very nice restaurant for brunch one of the days. And I thought it was totally worth it. So, like, I don't regret any of that. It's just hard when you look over it and really see a breakdown of how much money you're spending. Going off of that, travel is my next expense. And this month it was $642. So the reason why that was so high is because the flight to Chicago, the hotel in Chicago, the flight I think was like $110 each, so it wasn't too bad. But then the hotel was like $150 for a night. We were just there for one night. I also, when I go into the office, I take the train now because I don't have a car. So it is so much cheaper than having a car. So it's kind of a negligible expense because it's only $6 when I take it for the whole day. And I only go into the office once a week. So 4 days out of the week, $24, like that's not bad. So then the other part of that travel expense is Ubers. So like Ubers while we were in Chicago. I don't really Uber in Denver just because we have the train and we walk to a lot of places, so I don't really need it. And then we also, a lot of cities have these now, but we have the Lime scooters and Lime bikes and stuff. So it's like a city bike in New York City where you just hop on one and ride it around. They're all over the place. And the scooters as well, it's just like an electric scooter that is super convenient and you could just take it anywhere and you pay by the minute. So I think I probably paid about $20 or $30 last month on those because it does actually kind of add up. The last thing, which is probably the biggest travel expense, was we booked our flights back to Buffalo for the holidays. So that is lumped in there as well. And that one was, I think it was $250 for the round trip flight. So it was kind of expensive, but it was expected given that it's the holidays and everyone's traveling. So we're going to be in Buffalo for 2 weeks in December into January, which will be exciting. All right, the next one, I decided just to lump basically everything else into general expenses. So that is like clothing, stuff for the apartment, like anything like that, because I didn't really want to get super nitpicky into the categories in that. So I just have it in general. And honestly, I don't think I really spend too much money every month on miscellaneous stuff anyways. So I lumped that all together, and that is $277 for October. So that I'm okay with. I don't think that was that crazy. Honestly, I think it'll be worse for this month, November, because of the holidays. I have to start purchasing things for family members and things like that. So that'll probably be a little bit higher, but I'm really going to try to lower the expenses in restaurants and groceries. So we will see. I think after this, I'm actually going to take one of the bikes and go to Trader Joe's, since I think the worst part about having a car is that I can't really go to Trader Joe's easily. So we haven't been at all since we moved here, except when we had a rental car one day. So because it's like 2 miles away, so I can just take one of the electric bikes there, fill whatever I can in the basket and do it that way. So I'll just have to get used to doing like smaller trips to the store. Oh, and the total's right here for the month. And so I don't know if you can tell, but this does not include, I'm not including my rental property, like any expense and income I get from that is separate. I have it separated in a different spreadsheet. And as of right now, I'm basically just breaking even because I have my tenants upstairs and they were paying $800 a month, which I thought was very reasonable. And their lease just renewed November 1st. So I actually raised it up to $830. So like, I think that's still super reasonable for a 2-bedroom apartment. So getting that income, plus my sister is living in my unit like that I was living in, and she's only paying me $500 just because it's not finished yet. She's going to be doing a lot of the maintenance and stuff like that. So I don't mind, and I don't really want to make a profit off of family. So I'm charging $500 for now while she gets settled in and stuff. In a year, if she still wants to live there and I still don't want to go home, I'll raise it to something more reasonable and like more of a market rate. But for now, I'm totally fine with it. And yeah, I'm breaking even. I'm making like $200 a month of a profit from my rental income. But again, that's not really a profit because that money's gonna go right back into the house with repairs and like fixing stuff and making things better. So if you want me to go over that in a separate video, I definitely can. Just let me know. To me, I just don't think it's that interesting, but I certainly can. So that was my expenses. For my income, since I did one of these videos last, I was in a different job making significantly less. Now, instead of being paid hourly, I get paid salary plus a bonus at the end of the year. And then the other thing is I bumped up my 401k savings from 5% to 10. So I put 10% into my Roth 401k, and then they match, I think 3 or 4%, which isn't great, but it's fine. So for October, I made $3,596 in salary. And then for other, I made $281. And that is just from my Google AdSense. I don't make anywhere near that per month or anything like that. This was my total Google AdSense money from since I got monetized, which was over a year ago. And it's just been sitting in my Google AdSense account. I didn't really want to take it out for some reason, but I finally did. So that's where that other category is. Total income then comes to $3,877. So my net income minus expenses, I end up netting $1,018 for this month. So I don't think that's great just for me. I mean, for some people that's definitely great, and I really don't want you to think that you're not doing as well or you need to copy this. This is just my lifestyle. Like, I really prefer to have a high savings rate because I don't know, I just do. I like being more frugal. I really enjoyed when I was frugal a couple of years ago and was saving a lot of money. Like in Buffalo, I was saving $2,000 a month religiously, and it wasn't really too hard to do just because I didn't have housing expenses and things like that. But now I only have $1,018 for the month left over. So I put $500 into my savings account, and then the rest I used to pay credit cards and stuff from the previous month. So I didn't really save too much. And the other thing which I wanted to discuss is the student loans and all of that, because I was very heavy into paying them off, getting that wiped out, because I started with like 40 something thousand and then ended up with, I currently have 23,000. And to be honest with you, I haven't put a penny into my student loans since the interest rates and the payments were paused, because I knew that there was a chance, even if it was a tiny chance, that it would be forgiven. And also, since there's no interest being accrued, it makes more sense for me to put that money into a savings account, because then I am getting interest on it. So I'm technically making more doing that than if I were to pay my student loans, if that makes sense. So I haven't put any money into that. And when the legislation came out where they were going to forgive the student loans of $10,000, it was like the best day ever, because I have 23,000 and most people are going to get the $10,000 forgiven. But I was actually a Pell Grant recipient because I came from a very low income household. Growing up, my family was very poor, just, to be straight with you. So I am actually getting the 20,000 instead of the 10. So my 23,000 is going to end up just being 3,000. Once the 20,000 clears in my account and it shows the balance of 3,000, I will that day pay that off from my savings account and just have that be completely gone. So I understand how lucky I am to be in that position where I don't have to worry about student loans anymore. Super, super happy about that. That's a big expense that I won't have anymore. So I mean, yes, I am spending a lot more now that I've moved, but I don't have a car payment anymore. I don't have to deal with that. I don't have to deal with student loans anymore. So I think I need to just give myself a little bit of a break. I have been very hard on myself with the finances, but you know, in actuality, it's not so bad. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I hope you all had a good October. I know we are all feeling the effects of inflation. It's hard to even tell if the raising, like the prices just seem so much higher because I'm in a higher cost of living city, or if like I move back to Buffalo, if I were to go there now, it would be the same just because of inflation. So it's definitely hard to see price tags for things now, for sure, especially when people, for the most part, aren't getting raises that match what inflation is. So it's like we're making less money than we were a year ago just because of that. So I don't know. If you have any tips or anything for dealing with that, especially when it comes to buying food, please let me know. I used to love going to Aldi's, but they don't have that here. So it's not an option for me anymore. But I try to stay away from like Whole Foods and stuff like that because I think it's unnecessary, especially because when you order Whole Foods, you have to pay $10 plus tip versus Amazon Fresh, you don't have to pay. So that is nice. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.